done. So
Okay.
basically,
10%? Okay.
Yeah, I would say maybe even less. There's nothing much of what it would look like.
It looks like an
eventually,
open book to me. I'm
possibly.
just telling you what I'm seeing as a librarian.
Exactly.
I'm seeing the book there. Okay.
Yeah, it has a structure that's
Yeah.
going back in space. So we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's happening there yet.
So you don't have, like, that's what I'm too. Like, you don't have that vision then of what it's going to look like in your head.
With this new body of work,
Uh-huh.
I'm working completely different.
Yeah.
With some of my pieces, I'm working a little bit different than what I worked before. I'm trying to stay away from too much planning because for this summer, I feel that I just need to play and see what happens and what I can discover from it. So right now I'm on an experimental phase.
Okay.
And then the ones over here are some of them are one-shot paintings. Like this painting was
What's different? What's a one-shot versus?
one-day paintings all at once.
I got you. Okay.
Continuously paint,
Yeah.
and I don't stop until I'm done with the
I
painting.
got you. Okay.
It's just basically there's not that many layers. There's interaction, and I used some media that dries really fast for the ground, so that way I could apply the oil on top. Like this red is ink, and this is oil. So that was the reason why I was able to do a one-shot painting, because of the materiality. But in this painting, I decided to do all oils. So I had to wait maybe a week until this mint green dried, so I could do the line work on top. And this one was probably 3 sittings.
Okay.
So 3 different episodes of maybe 4 hours each or so.
Okay.
So some of them are faster than others. Like you can see, this one took me 4 hours. This one took me like 12 hours. You know, this one was also like sort of like the same process as this. I had to wait until some paint dried, and I had to like work out some layers. And it was a little more of a frustrating painting to do because it wasn't working out for a while. So it took me a little bit longer, regardless of how small it is. This right here is also another finished one, and actually a pretty fast painting. I think I did it in like 6 hours or so.
So when you're working on something, you kind of have it's not working or it's missing something, and you feel you still want to work on it more. I mean, what do you kind of do?
Sometimes I just go back to my sketchbook and I draw. Usually have it on there, and I make a drawing of what I have, and I make some lines and I add to it to see if that helps me.
Okay.
Sometimes I just go straight into the canvas and I continue. Like this little guy right here is not done, and I'm not sure what I'm doing with it yet.
Okay.
It's in standby. I haven't figured out what the space is like, what it's doing. That one's not finished either, and I just like it's up there because I don't like it. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I just leave it so I see it, so I remember that.
So do you look at these like all the time? I mean,
I do. I look at them all the time because sometimes when I'm working on this, something might come up that might work on that one. So whatever I have that's not finished or that I think that is relevant to what I'm doing, I like to have it out.
That's cool.
Unless I don't want it to influence me too much, then I put it away.
Okay.
And then like this was finished, that's finished too. This right here, it's just the ground. It's just in the first stage.
Yeah.
So this is probably gonna get, I don't know to what extent it's gonna get covered, like those 2 did. But as you can see, this is the same pattern that I decided to repeat it there. So I'm decided to play with and see what I've done in other paintings and breaking them into other pieces.
Okay. Yeah.
Because some things I was doing before, I was just trying to make each painting very different from the next, and I had a crit. And Colin Gardner came in and he told me, why don't you like look at what you've done and like look at some of your visual language and develop the same things and those strategies into other paintings, so they can become, there's a relationship between all of them rather than make them all individually differently. So yeah, and those are finished too, and these are what I get painted. These are beginnings, and this one's right here finished too, little guys. So, and this is not finished or nothing, but I'm just not gonna do anything to it.
How do you come up with like the title? How does titling of work? Does it matter?
No. Okay. Yes. In the previous work, which is a more mature work, the one with the interior spaces, I had very specific titles, and it all dependent on what was happening with the space. Okay. And the mood. I'm trying to remember. And depending on what they're about. Let's see what I have here. Oh, I only have 2 here. No. Like for example, like when I was interested in working with the shanty towns. I'm from Caracas originally, so I decided to name this painting Caracas Invisible, because that's what the painting was about. It was like the invisibility of the shanty towns and the people that live on the slums. And when I did this drawing, I was thinking about this dystopic island of a cluster of cosmopolitan buildings. So I decided to call it Emerging Island, because I feel that it's coming out into space. So I look at what the painting is about and what it's doing as a painting or as a drawing, and I name it based on that. So far my my titles are very like obvious. They're very related to the piece and what's going on. With this new body of work, I haven't figured out like how I want to work out the titles yet.
What is this publication?
This is from UCLA.
Oh, okay.
Because I was on a show there in 2009, and it's their biennial for their big gallery. It's called the New White Gallery, and the show was called Without, and they included people from many different UCs, and that had that had experience living in other countries, and then they came to get their masters in the United States. Okay. So basically, everybody in the publication.
That's cool.
Has that, yeah.
So okay, you showed me this